Again, I don't care what people saying. Keep talking. Keep talking about my pockets. I ain't got nothing. I don't give a. Y'all need therapists. Y'all got some unrecognized trauma that you need to deal with so you could stop hating other people because you hate yourself. I feel sorry for those people. The test is, do I still do the right thing despite other people not doing the right thing? Of course. I like my life. I'm not going to make my heaven into hell because they're in hell.
Today we got a hot one. Dame Dash finally reacts to Cameron calling him out about blowing his money. Now we've seen the tension building for a while, and the streets have been talking about this one for a long time. Cam said that Dame Dash mismanaged the bag at Rockefeller, but Dame, oh, he's not going for that at all. From calling out those who talk about his money to breaking down the whole situation with Cam, Dame's got a lot to say, and he ain't holding back at all. Trust me, this ain't one you want to miss. But hold up, before we dive into that, let me just say this. If you thought things were squashed between these two, think again. Dame is coming with that raw energy, and we're about to break down the entire response. But what he says about Cam, you'll be shocked. And on top of that, Dame drops some real talk about his business moves and what it means to be a true hustler. But here's the thing though, Dame's not just defending himself, he's addressing some major narratives in the game that could shift how we look at the entire Rockefeller legacy. You know, we've all been wondering about the real story behind the money, the moves, and the fallouts. Dame's giving us a glimpse behind the curtain, and it's a side of the story that not a lot of people know. Now I'm about to play this clip for y'all, but before I do, I just need you to like, leave your thoughts down below in the comment section, and subscribe. Let's get into it.
It was a comment you made earlier about money management, and I want to ask you how you feel about the people that say you was mismanaging the money at Rockefeller.
Yeah, that's not even worth acknowledging. I just say mind your business. Like you don't know what you're talking about. Again, talking about another man's business is feminine. Me addressing other men talking about my business is feminine. The only time that I feel the need to address a narrative is when it's fucking with my money. But it's not fucking with my money right now. This narrative right now. But it's good that, as you see, I have people I work with that will call me and find out if it's true. But just naturally, it's like they do make it hard for people to do corporate business with me with all this shit in the newspaper all the time, because most people don't use their own money, so they can't take chances. You understand what I mean? So like the people that corporate, they're like, yo, if you get it, like there's certain contracts, it'd be like if you get accused of something, not even convicted, you could lose all your deals. I'm a person that they just make shit up. I just got arrested by the FBI. This is a white man calling me, telling me this. And they had it in AI. That's how starving everybody is to put me in the algorithm to show me suffering, that they make up visuals. It's like I'm more flattered that people care so much about my money. But I don't recall ever running around saying, I feel like I'm the guy that's always been like, I'm broke. Like hustlers don't say they got money because you become a target. The only time you say you have a bunch of money is when you don't. But that's for people that actually have had money. They would know. That's why I could tell the level of a person's, how much money they've made in their life by how they act when they hear certain things. It's like, you should know better than that. If you had some money, you would know. So most people that talk about my money, like I said, I don't think they've ever made a lot of money to know what it's like to talk about it. But I'm not judging them, but y'all talking about me. So just, we want to keep talking, keep talking. I don't mind the algorithm. I think any famous person that cares what the public thinks, if it's like, especially if it's not true, if it's not fucking with their money, I just think that that's an oxymoron. Like the people that hate you the most, they disguise themselves and they start to say things. People that hate you for no reason are cowards. You know, like if you got to fight with me, fight in front of me. Get me a fair one. And I'm getting older now, so it's like, yo, it's whack. I'm like 54. I'm never going to be in my 20s again. You're never going to see the 20-year-old version of Dame Dash again. But I did do a lot young. I retired at 35. I'm 54. Like, when can I relax and just enjoy my family and just do what I want to do? But again, I don't care what people say. Keep talking about my pockets. I ain't got nothing. I don't give a. Y'all need therapists. So I got some unrecognized trauma that you need to deal with so you could stop hating other people because you hate yourself. I feel sorry for those people. The test is, do I still do the right thing despite other people not doing the right thing? Of course. I like my life. I'm not going to make my heaven into hell because they're in hell.
Yeah, I know Cam, he said that you'll be set for life if you know how to manage your money. It was out of love when he said it too.
Again, I'm not, see, the thing about Cam is he's my little brother. He's from Harlem. And what he did, I wouldn't advise. And because he did it doesn't mean I'm going to do it. Him and I should have that conversation in person. I'm not here to have a conversation between my little brother for entertainment. But it seemed to me like he could potentially have done that for entertainment. But we'll talk about him and I should. And I know Cam. He'll avoid me for 3-4 years. But if he ever has an opinion, I think what would be, I don't respect when a man speaks about another man when they're not there. I'm not known for talking about dudes when they're not there. I'm known for confronting people and having a conversation in their face. So I would love to have a conversation if he wants face to face, but I don't think it would be that same energy. But I love Cam and we'll deal with that. Like, if you saw someone that's supposed to be an OG not acting like one because one of the people that are younger than them did something that you wouldn't do, and then it says, all right, now I'm going to do that, then that takes away from my OG-ness. You know what I mean? And I'm not going to do that for this platform. So it's all right. I'm not offended by the question. I talked to other people from Harlem, and overall we decided, talk to him when you see him. But I don't think it's a good look for him to be talking about anybody's pockets ever. Like I said, it's not the most masculine quality. I'm not saying anything, not trying to disrespect him, but it was something I never thought I'd see him do about anybody, nonetheless me, is talk about somebody's pockets. But you know what? The only thing let me say this. The only thing I was disappointed for Cam when he did say that, he didn't let the world know that every time he calls me, I still front on him. So when he calls me recently with all of these things, before he got upset because of whatever I said about 50 Cent, I'd be like, yo, we still fronting. So every time I call him, I'd be like, yo, I'm in a different house. Show me your house. I was just wondering why he didn't talk about that. Like every time he's seen me, he's never seen me look like I've mismanaged my money. It just seemed like it was promoting a narrative. What makes me sad about that is that guys like Steve Stout and other people are just laughing at us when they do that. And I just be like, why would you want them to get that satisfaction to see us argue or have a disagreement and, we could just talk. But I did wish I'd be like, why you don't bring up how much I be stunting on him? Like, pause till this day. Why he's not talking about that? That's what I wanted to know. Like, I want to talk about the fun. Like, literally the last 3 times he called me, I was at different cribs. And all had water views, whether it was a river or a lake. Like, how could you mismanage your money, but you paying for everything you do? How is that? I don't get it. But, it's just a narrative, I think, that's in the algorithm. But I'm looking forward to the conversation with Cam about that. I call people like, yo, call me. But it's all good. But my suggestion for that situation is that if you do have someone you respect and they did something you didn't like and they call you, don't curve. Call. You know what I'm saying? Like, don't curve a call. Call them. Talk to them. And that should be the example that we had a disagreement. We resolved it. No one had to know. But it's not a cool thing to say somebody called to talk about whatever you're upset about and you just decided to go talk about it on television. That's not the example that's not Harlem to me. But we keep going. But I love Cam. He's my brother. But I think sometimes being around like a Steve Stout or something gives him the wrong kind of effect and be worried about the wrong shit.
One thing's for sure. When it comes to defending himself or addressing these situations, Dame Dash is not holding back, and I respect that. He's all about standing on his principles and protecting his legacy, especially when it comes to his money and his business. We all can learn from that. Now, Cameron calling him out, I get it. It's a bold move. But honestly, Dame's response was more measured than I expected. He didn't go all in like some people would. Instead, he took the high road and said, hey, mind your business. Now that's a power move in itself, you know. No need to get messy at all when you know the truth. And let's be real, Dame Dash been around long enough to know how to handle these type of situations. But here's the thing I'm still thinking about. I'm all for healthy disagreements. Sometimes it's good to air things out. But it's clear that Dame Dash got some real frustration with the narrative that's been pushed about him. The way he flipped it saying, talking about my business is feminine, that really shows how serious he is about the respect factor in the whole conversation. It's not just about money. It's about how people perceive you and how they talk about you behind your back. That's a lesson we all can take with us, no matter what industry you're in. At the end of the day, I think it's all about accountability. Both Cam and Dame have both had their moments, but what stands out to me is how Dame's taken accountability for his moves and the way he handles his business. And yeah, it's a lot of noise out there. People love to throw dirt and keep stirring the pot. But if you know who you are and you've got the right circle around you, then none of that really matters. I'll say this though. The whole thing with Cam and Dame, I think it'll be one of those things that will get worked out in time. They're brothers, right? So even if there's some tension, there's always room for reconciliation. As much as Dame Dash might be upset now, he knows that Cam's a part of that history, whether he wants to admit it or not. They've been through a lot together, and I doubt a little disagreement about money is going to break that bond in the long run. I'm just curious to see how this plays out in the public eye. Will they talk it out in person? Will the narrative shift? Who knows? But for now, it's clear Dame Dash ain't out here letting anybody dictate his story. He's got his own version, and that's something I think we all can respect. So what do y'all think about this situation? How do you feel about Dame Dash's response to Cameron? And do you think Cameron crossed the line? And where do you think this whole situation is going? Let me know your thoughts down below in the comment section. And make sure you like and subscribe. Peace.